Good morning. I'm the Reverend Jen Raffensperger, and I serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. Thank you for being with us this morning, and I invite you now to ready yourself in body, mind, and spirit for worship as you hear the sound of the bell.
From deep in my heart I illuminate my love. From deep in my heart I illuminate my life. From deep in my heart I reach out and touch. When our spirits unite, our light shines bright.
It is our practice to light a chalice at the start of each gathering as the symbol of the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism. We also invite everyone at home to light a candle as we share our chalice lighting words found on the website learnreligions.com. Fire of the hearth, blaze of the sun, cover me in your shining light. I am awash in your glow, and tonight I am made pure.
Mother, beloved garden, living treasure underfoot. All our days you ground our being, sage and thistle, grass and root. Herbs to heal us, plants to feed us, land to till and tend and plow. With the pendant deep as midnight north, we ask you, be here now.
Father, ere your inspiration holds together all that lives, as we breathe our minds so clearly, leading us to love and give. Raging whirlwinds, whispered breezes, violent gale and gentle cloud, with the blade as sharp as morning east, we ask you, be here now.
Brother fire, great transformer, share the passion of the sun. In our hearts your warmth revives us, cooks our food and heats our home. Flaming candle, blood within us, blazing desert we will grow. With the one directing power south, we ask you, be here now.
Sister water ever flowing, ocean, river, pond, and rain, drink we now and quench our thirsting, cleanse us, we begin again. Mist and ice, a host of changes, all that courage will allow. With the cup, the holy chalice, west we ask you, be here now.
Love, the spirit, intuition in the center of our souls. In your love we find relation, all connected we are whole. Timeless mystery, quiet conscience, deepest values voice inside. With the drum and with the cauldron, this we ask you, be our guide.
As pagans, We request the presence of the god, our masculine aspect, and the goddess, our feminine aspects, and request their guidance. Today we celebrate Imbolc. The word is from the Old Irish for in the belly. It's also known as Oimilk, Lady Day, and in Christianity, Candlemas or St. Brigid Day. In earth-based spiritual practice, it's considered to be one of the greater sabbats and is dedicated to both the returning of the light and the goddess. It's heavily associated specifically with the Celtic goddess Brigid, who has crossed cultural boundaries into many faith practices and taken many forms. Primarily, she's associated with fire and purification. On this Sabbat, the ground is warming in preparation for new growth. Spring is just over the horizon. We prepare our minds and bodies for new life, new experiences, new challenges. Now, we'll be singing Please Join In From Home as we sing hymn number 307, The Human Touch Can Light a Flame.
The human touch can light the flame, which gives a brightness to the day. The Spirit wills His mortal flame to light our hearts for work and play. The lovers kiss, the friends embrace, the clasp of hands to show we care, the light of welcome on the face, our treasured moments all can share. May all who come within our reach be kindled by our inner glow, not just in spirit's words we preach, in human touch, love's faith we show.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Shitterman, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at UUCY. And it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. The story I'm going to tell you is about two young children named Brigid and Alex. And you see, they lived in a land where the winter snow was abundant. And Alex and Brigid loved going out and playing in the snow. They loved building snowmen. They loved building snow forts, having snowball fights. They loved the winter. But they also always loved the return of the spring. And they loved the holiday that honored Brigid. Not Brigid the child, but Brigid the goddess. Because that was the return. That was the turning of winter into spring. But one winter, it was particularly harsh. The winds howled and even sometimes pushed the smoke back down the chimney and into the house. And there were often times where it was too cold they couldn't even go out into the snow to play. And on days, sometimes they would get so bundled up because it was so cold that all they could do is waddle like penguins. They couldn't even bend to build their forts. So growing tired of winter, they asked their mother, "How long is winter going to last? When will it end?" And their mother said, "Well, only the goddess knows." And Alex said, "But how can we find this goddess to ask her?" The mother said, "Well, on Brigid's Eve, light a candle, and perhaps she will come to you, and then you can ask her." So Brigid's Eve came, and they lit a candle, and they sat and they focused on that candle. And the flame grew brighter and brighter and brighter until the entire room was filled with such wondrous light. And then a beautiful woman appeared. And she said, "I am Brigid, of the holy well and the sacred flame. Why have you called me here?" And Brigid, the little girl, said, "Oh, my name's Brigid too. I'm named after you." And Alex said, we wanted to ask you a question." So Brigid was like, "Oh, right. When is winter going to end?" And so the goddess Brigid said, "Winter will end when the holy well runs clean and a fire burns on everyone's hearth." And then she disappeared. And Brigid's like, "What does that mean?" So they went and they asked their father. Goddess Brigid said that spring won't come, winter won't end until the holy well runs clean and there's a fire burning on every hearth. When is that? And the father said, "Well, that's the thing about gods and goddesses. Sometimes they speak in riddles and it's kind of hard to understand them." So Alex and Brigid came up with a plan. They decided they were going to go around to all the houses in the village, and they were going to make sure that everyone had a fire burning on their hearth. And since they didn't know of any holy well, they would ask every single house if they knew of a holy well. And so they went around and they made sure everyone had a fire burning in their hearth. And the families were wonderful and nice and kind, and they fed them and gave them warm drink. But none had heard of this holy well. And as Alex and Brigid were walking along, there was this one house. It was on the outskirts of town towards the forest. And it was old Mad Dog's house. And everyone said to stay away from old Mad Dog. Okay, old Mad Dog was a foreigner, he was lazy, he was dirty, he was mean, just stay away. But even though Alex and Brigid were scared, they could see that no smoke was rising from old man Mad Dog's fireplace, from the chimney. So they had to think about it. Surely Goddess Brigid didn't mean that we should go and check on old man Mad Dog, right? Brigid said, "Every hearth. We have to at least go check." So they went up to the house. And at the house, they knocked on the door and no one came to answer. And Alex is like, "Oh, maybe he's not home. We should just go." But Brigid's like, "Well, let's just look in the window. Maybe he's hurt or something." So they look in and they could see old man Mad Dog lying on the bed. And they knew no fire was going in the hearth. They could see no smoke from the chimney, no fire in the hearth. So they tried the door and it was open. And they went inside and they found old man Mad Dog lying on a bed, shivering with a fever. So Alex ran out and grabbed wood from the forest and they lit a fire. And they found some potatoes and carrots and some water and they made old man Mad Dog a soup. And soon old man Mad Dog was a little bit better. He was up, sitting, and he says, "Well, I guess I should thank you. Don't really like children, but thanks." And Alex said, "Yeah, well, that would be the polite thing to do." And Brigid said, "Well, there's actually one thing that you could do to help and to really thank us. Can you tell us if you know where there's a holy well?" And old man Mad Dog goes, "Holy well? The only well I know of is this old decrepit well back in the forest. It's full of garbage." And Alex and Brigid look at each other and go, "Full of garbage? Surely that can't be the holy well." But it was the only well that they had learned of in their entire time going from house to house in the village. So they went out and they looked. And sure enough, it was full of everyone's garbage. So they began cleaning it out, all the things out. They scooped out the mud. They got all the trash out of there. And soon enough, clean water began to rise. And they heard a voice behind them, and it was that of Goddess Brigid, saying, "You've done well. You have made sure that there is a fire lit in every hearth, and that the holy well is running clean again. You see, this used to be my holy well, where everyone would come and they'd lay flowers to welcome spring, and they were kind and generous to each other, but people have forgotten." And Alex and Brigid said, "Oh, we'll help them remember. We'll bring them back. We'll finish cleaning. We'll get everything clear." And Brigid thanked them. But she said, "There's one thing that I do have to share with you, a secret. This is my holy well, and you've made sure all of the hearths are lit with fire. But inside each and every one of you, there is a holy well. And sometimes, just like this well, we let the well be muddied and full of garbage, full of things like hatred and selfishness. We must keep that well clean with kindness. And we also have hearths in our bodies that we must keep lit to inspire us, to keep us warm and welcoming. That is the secret we must remember." And they said, "Okay, well, we've done this. We solved your riddle. Will spring come? Will winter end?" It will. And spring finally came when winter ended. Obviously, this is a story, it's a myth, but it carries deep truth and deep meaning. And this is one of the morals of Imbolc, of Candlemas, of St. Brigid's Day, of warmth, of kindness, of purity of heart, keeping that well inside pure. I hope you will keep this story with you and the moral that it brings with you in your hearts, today and always. Blessed be, and amen.
In place of a reading today, Mary and I from the ECT committee will be sharing a purification candle ritual. This ritual has been adapted from a ritual on the seasonalsoul.com website. I invite you into a calm space in this moment with us. Although it is now dark, I come seeking light. In the chill of winter, I come seeking life. I call upon the fire that melts the snow and warms the hearth. I call upon fire that brings the light and makes new life. I call upon fire to purify me with your flame. This light is a boundary between positive and negative. That which is outside shall stay without. That which is inside shall stay within. I call upon fire that melts the snow and warms the hearth. I call upon fire that brings the light and makes new life. I call upon fire to purify me with your flames. Like fire, light and love will always grow. Like fire, wisdom and inspiration will always grow. I call upon fire to purify me with your flames. Fire of this hearth, blaze of the sun, cover me in your shining light. I am awash in your glow, and tonight I am made pure.
Thank you, Claire and Mary, for that beautiful ritual. Perhaps you, like me, have watched with alarm as retailers and marketers have lengthened the seasons of shopping. It always feels to me like back-to-school displays go up before summer break has barely begun. There's the arrival of the overwhelmingly pink displays of Valentine's candy and cards when we haven't finished putting away the New Year's streamers. In the first week of this month, I went for a walk in my neighborhood and I saw that one neighbor had already hung up a shiny green garland festooned with leprechauns. I may have let out a small scream when I saw it. There's a strange season right at the cusp of the year, storage container season. Suddenly, the winter holidays come to an end, the bins and drawer organizers and vacuum seal bags and closet dividers show up. Their displays are not gaudy. They are matter of fact. Their message seems to be, you have too much stuff. We can help you organize it. And I wonder today if there's not a better message to receive. You have too much stuff? Maybe it's time to let some of it go. I'm so glad and grateful to be sharing this service with our Earth-Centered Traditions group today. While I am not a practicing pagan, the holidays of the Wheel of the Year are meaningful to me because they remind me to set myself firmly in the reality of the present. Where we are in the year's cycle, what's happening in the sky, what's happening on the wind, what is happening on the waves, what is happening in the earth itself. The 4 major holidays on the Wheel of the Year are the solstices, the extremes of daylight and night, and the equinoxes, the times of balance between the two. And the cross-quarter festivals, like Imbolc, are the tipping points of each of these major shifts. Imbolc, the cross-quarter festival poised between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, is a time of shifting. The days have been getting longer since late December, of course, but with the passage of Imbolc, we officially move closer to the start of spring than we are to the start of winter. The wheel is turning. Imbolc is traditionally observed on February 1st, beginning at sundown on the 31st of February. In the beautiful candle ritual that Claire and Mary have just shared with us, we heard words of purification and preparation for what is ahead. And from Claire's introduction of this celebration at the start of the service, we heard that at this time, we prepare our minds and bodies for new life, new experiences, and new challenges. We are a month into the new year. The boxes and bins have been put aside for Valentine's and St. Patrick's stuff, and yet we are still here talking about a time to prepare for the growing season, to prepare for the spring, a season of change. And we are, for 2 more days, still in January, where we have chosen our theme for living with intention. For anyone who was here with us for another fire ritual, our January 9th fire communion service, you might remember that at that service we talked about intentions for the year rather than resolutions. The kind of change that we observe and participate in when we allow ourselves to focus on the turning of the wheel of the year, that is slow change. That's not to say that change can't come quickly, but when we set ourselves to be fully within the present moment, when we attempt to set aside the impatience that our fast-forward society seems to foster within us, are the Easter decorations up yet? When we observe deeply where we actually are within the year and where our own lives reside at this time, then we can truly do the work of preparing our minds and bodies for new life, new experiences, new challenges, for new change. When we talked about intentions together a few weeks ago, some people also shared a word for the year. A word is a small thing. It can be a reminder or a reassurance, a hope and a help. It's not a promise to do everything, or even really to do a specific thing. It is a promise to the self to be present, to remind and reground ourselves in the patient, careful, deliberate turning of the year. When we shared words together in worship on the 9th of January, I had not yet selected one for 2022. Many of you know, and Janelle has mentioned, thank you, that I'm moving soon, I'm moving this week. And so I've spent a lot of time with boxes and bins just lately, marveling with both awe and a kind of horror at how much stuff one human can accumulate. The other week, it came to me that my word for 2022 is place. I like the phrase, a place for everything and everything in its place. That is aspirational for me, by the way. And at this festival of preparation, I am mindful of the change that I am preparing for. I am mindful of the shift in place. I'm also mindful of the need to be present to each place where I am, to let the place tell me its story, to learn without judgment when I feel uncertainty about a place, when our two protagonists of our story that Matt shared with us felt uncertain about going to the creepy cabin on the edge of the woods, but they went anyway. My invitation to you at this in-between season, more than halfway from the start of winter to the start of spring, is to think about where you are right now. Where, who, and how you are. We have spoken of preparation. How can we prepare for what is ahead if we do not know where we are? We have spoken of purification. I invite you to think again about the real message of storage solution season. What have you gathered about you that does not serve you? As the earth continues its turning toward the spring, and as we consider the intention of what we may want to sow in this growing season, the invitation of Imbolc is to prepare yourself. Let go of what you do not need. Lift up what you do. The wheel turns, and we witness it with love and with reverence. May it be so.
Laughter in the summer's warmth be near. When the winter follows after, teach our spirits not to fear. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning year. Sister of the evening starlight, in the falling shadows stay, here among us till the far light of tomorrow's dawning ray. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning day. Mother of the generations, in whose love all life is worth, everlasting celebrations bring our labors safe to birth. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning earth. Stand with us when we engage, hands and hearts to end oppression, writing history's fairer page. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning age.
At this time in our service each week, we invite you into generosity. This congregation relies on the time, the talents, and the treasure of its members and friends in order to maintain our community, to grow our capacity, and to thrive both now and in the years to come. It is the practice of this congregation to share each week's offering with an organization serving our community that upholds our values. We use Share the Plate to honor our commitment to service to our local community through these generous donations to local partners. January's Share the Plate partner is the Northeast Neighborhood Association. Established as a 501c3 nonprofit organization in 1996, operating a food pantry located in the Pine Street Center at the corner of East Philadelphia and North Pine Street. It operates Crystal's Place, a resource center located at 216 Chestnut Street. Free food, clothing, diapers, and household items are distributed to anyone in need. Another valuable service the Northeast Neighborhood Association provides is monthly food delivery to seniors and the disabled who live in nearby apartment buildings. NANA further serves the neighborhood by informing residents about city codes and ordinances and how to contact city departments regarding needs, services, and complaints. Northeast Neighborhood Association works with neighbors to keep the area clean and safe.
Awaken the flame within my being. Awaken the sacred fire within my being. Brigid, Brigid, priestess of the flame. Brigid, Brigid, goddess of the flame.
As we invited the god, the goddess, and the corners to join us during our time together, as we close our service, we thank them for joining us and release them from this space. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Once again, our worship has ended and our service begins. Thank you all who gathered. May the light of the flames here in our sanctuary be echoed in your hearts. And yes, as we were reminded, let us take the warmth of our own hearth fires out into a world until there are no cold hearth fires. So may it be.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Announcements! I don't know how to, the transition here is rough, I'm just saying. But here we are. Great song, great service. Thank you, Mary and Claire. Thank you, Gretchen, Lisa, Matt. Thank you, everyone on the tech team. Thank you, everybody who's here, everybody who's watching. Hooray! And if you are interested, and if you are intrigued by, and are finding meaning in the lovely services that we have been sharing with our Earth-Centered Traditions group, our first announcement is that the Earth-Centered Spirituality group will meet and bless the community garden on February 2nd, Imbolc, at 6 p.m. So come on out, be out here. I think it's supposed to be a little warmer, actually, by Wednesday. So it's a great way to honor the beautiful land that we have here and to honor the turning of the wheel of the year. So if you're finding meaning in this, I think that will also be a very meaningful time for you. And another important announcement, we're launching our annual pledge campaign next week. In the coming week, you should receive your 2021, 2022, it's probably 22, 23, right? Because we're in 22. I didn't catch that myself, so I just copied that over. The 2022-2023 pledge packet, complete with your 2021 tax document. For those in pursuant to last week's service where we talked about the Side with Love campaign, we are still in the middle of the 30 Days of Love, Side with Love campaign. There are some phone banks today. You can, which of course I have not written down, so I don't remember what those are for. There's a phone bank, and I don't remember what it's for. sidewithlove.org if you want to connect with other Unitarian Universalists and check in with the unique justice work that is happening with them. It's not just during 30 Days of Love, but they have excellent ways to get slowly involved or to do what you feel like you can do from home. Thank you to everyone who reached out and told me that they called their representatives and senators last week after our reproductive justice service. I'm very glad that message connected with some folks. And the last announcement is already kind of spoiler. I'm moving this week, which means I'm off this week. I have a pre-recorded segment on next Sunday for the stewardship campaign, which is going to be just an amazing service. So that Sue Bupp and Mary Rosario will be leading for us that day. So thank you all for your presence today on Zoom worship. And as we move into the next part of the year, it's almost February, second month of the year. Be well all, have good weeks.